We were talking Peruvian Metals today. Peruvian Metals trades as PER, Toronto Venture Exchange, DUVNF on the OTCQB in the States here. And I've got Jeff Reeder, the CEO, and we're going to talk about some record throughput here again at Aguila Norte processing plant in Northern Peru. So, Jeff, appreciate the time here and run investors through what you're accomplishing there.
Right now, we're processing third-party ore and some of our ore that we have purchased from miners, and we're getting to a point where we're going to be full capacity. Month of September, we had to do some scheduled maintenance. We had to, we processed over 50,000 tons at the plant, so we needed to change a lot of the internal workings of the ball mill, conveyor belt, stuff like that. So even though we're still achieving record production right now up to the third quarter 2022, 2022 fourth quarter is going to be very good because we got lots of mineral there and we should have a great year. And we're purchasing minerals now and hopefully 10% of our mineral being processed is our own mineral. Next year, I'm going to start improving on that quite a bit. So, we're doing quite well, and we built this plant to treat several different types of ore, and we're getting great recoveries on all the different types of ore. So it really is working, and we had a great first half. We've made positive cash flow. Second half this year, we're going to do the same. We had some big expenses in the first quarter, which are finished, but are done. And so we're going to have a good year this year. And we've done a deal with another junior company on one of our properties that we got a great share position in that on a very good, very prospective copper porphyry project. So we're doing quite well.
Let's set up here what else is going on. I think you kind of alluded to some activities here. Obviously, this junior resource market has been very down here. You've got a little different story there with Peruvian Metals. Looks like more of a business you're building than a speculative miner looking. So I guess you have everything in your bag here, Jeff. So why don't you kind of elaborate how you are different? And I know the company has some debt, but you've been able to pay that down as well. So you give investors a deeper look into Peruvian Metals and how you really operate things.
Yeah, as you said, we're running a business here, and what makes our company different, and we're going into another period like we've done before. I've been in the junior resource business since 1989, and I've seen ups and downs and stuff. These downturns really destroy companies when you can have the best result or some good results. But if no one's coming into the market and buying your stock, you're going to be doing finances at a much lower and lower price. Eventually, people are just going to throw in the towel and say, let's take our tax loss and walk away, right? So, I've learned all that in the past. So this time downturn is going to come around. It's going to be very, very good for us because we are making money. We're processing small miner ore. We're in a good country that accepts small miners. Peru the small miners in Peru are flourishing, Rob. I mean, they're everywhere, and they have to get their proper permits in place. They pay their taxes and stuff like this. And for me being in business with a small miner, I'm going to be a small miner too. I'm not going to come to you and say, hey, I've got the next world-class discovery here. I've got this A team here and this and that, and all the sayings that every other stock promoter says. I'm not going to say that. What I am going to say is that we're going to build our business. So we're going to start at one project at a time. We've got our processing plant. I built the processing plant to treat various types of ore so we can change the plant as we go forward. It's just not for one type of ore. And we have our own claims, which are eventually going to start, we're going to start mining one of our own claims pretty soon. We've already done a few bulk shipments and stuff like that to some of the oxide toll mills. But the difference is that my company is very lean and mean. Me being the CEO, president, and also the VPX, we don't have a whole bunch of people, and we're very frugal with the money. Since we have positive cash flow, we had some previous debt that we're eliminating. We've paid down 30% of our debt almost in the last year, and this debt was from way back before when we had some issues with building the plants and everything. But that's going to be eliminated, and pretty soon we're gonna take our cash flow and we're investing it into our own properties. I've been in Peru since 1994. We've claimed a lot of areas. We've got claims that have high grade lead, zinc, silver, high grade copper, gold on these claims, and we're just starting now to evaluate them for potential feed for our plant. And you know, when people go out and do option deals with $2 and $3 and $5 and $10 million to acquire property, we're claiming these areas because of all the experience I've had in Peru. I've looked at properties for example, our Yanayoko property, which is up in Northern Peru. I first visited in 1996. It came open for stake in 2014. I claimed it. We had to wait several years to go to an auction, but we claimed it. We've got good high grade gold on that. So we got these claims for application costs. And we do that because we have my focus is just Peruvian Metals. My general manager and my people were all just focused on Peruvian Metals. The difference is really that. And the difference isn't walking around really taking our expectations saying we're on the verge of a major discovery. Well, then, if that is the case and you've drilled a whole bunch of holes, there's sometimes some of these juniors have to say, Rob, is like, enough is enough, time to move on to the next project. For ourselves, what we're doing at Peruvian Metals, we take a project, and if it's really big tonnage, I'm going to option it to another junior company, not to a major company, because when you put it in a major company, you lose your optionality. I mean, you lose a lot of freedom you have in that project by news flow, cash option payments. But when you do it with a junior company, and if it is successful, we're going to ride on the share price of that company. So we're going to do this model several times over. And when I keep a property for 100% owned by Peruvian Metals, it's a high grade operation that's either can be mined by us and put in our own mill, or we can toll it. One of the things, because we have to look at our market cap where we are, the business where we are, the market where we are right now. If the gold price is $1,700 US an ounce, well, we're looking for gold and we're going to get prices at $1,700 an ounce. We're running the business at the current market. We're not waiting for inflation to come off. And if inflation does happen and prices do rise, then we're even going to do it even better. And I think the investing public needs to, looking at juniors, you really got to invest into people as much as everybody say. But I have 28 years experience in Peru, and I'm the only expatriate that's in the company besides my CFO. But I'm the only expatriate, and we speak Spanish. And those small miners in Peru, they come to our plant. What we do is when they come to our plant, I go and take a look at their properties, and then I get an idea. Maybe we should associate with this company, these small miners too, saying, hey, small miner, I'm going to increase your production from 100 tons a day to 500 tons a day. You keep your 20 and 25%, but I'm going to give you the capital, and you'll make even more money, and you have space in the mill. And eventually, Rob, at the difference, once we get our debt paid off, then I'm sitting there saying what we're going to do. And the difference of my company and other junior companies, a lot of juniors saying, our deal, we're never going to go in production. We're going to find something and sell it to a major. Well, that's in a 1 in 10,000 shot. But what we're going to do is that, and since we're all big shareholders, I own 10% of the company, a couple of other insiders own up to 20%, and our largest shareholder owns over 20%, that we are going to start giving back, returning capital to the stockholders as a shareholder. And that's a couple of ways of doing that, paying dividends or buying back our stock. And that's very different. So, and if we get lucky and we find a massive thing and we get taken out, then we get taken out. But that's not my goal. And I think you run the business as a real business and not a fantasy like many of the promoters talk about. So that's what makes us different. We are cash flowing. The expenses are lower than the revenues, which equates to positive cash flow.
What kind of profile would you give the company here, Jeff? I believe when you started this, you were a project generator, but now you've got a mill. You've obviously you're toll mining, but you're also working toward producing yourself. So for investors looking for opportunity, or I guess talk to them a little bit here. Tell them who you are.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I can say I'm a toll miner, but moving towards my own mineral, which we are, right? and but I would say we're kind of a cash and project generator, generating cash. We did a small raise in the third quarter of 2020. That was just after the COVID restrictions were lifted. So we lost 6 months of production. But our last big raise was back in the third quarter of 2018. And Rob, that shows that we are actually generating cash, and we're taking the cash and we're developing our properties, paying down our debt. And when we did our last raise, we had like 90 million shares outstanding. Now we only have like 98 million outstanding because we haven't issued any stock for some time. And I don't want to issue stock. That's the last thing I want to do. And because if I issue stock, then eventually I'm going to have to buy it back from somewhere. So I'm avoiding that at all costs. And so I would say we're a true cash and project generator. And a project generator sometimes gets misinterpreted as somebody goes out, generates projects, sells them to, or does another deal with another company. But what we're doing is when I generate a project, I prefer that I sell the property 100% to another junior company. Let them take it and run with it. Because I've done joint ventures with on my deals with First Quantum, IM Gold, Rio Alto, Rio Tinto, several major companies, and when you get in a deal with them, you lose control on the day when you sign. They go in there and they drill like a big company, and then they leave the property with several untested targets. You don't have news flow. They don't like making option payments to on grassroots steel. But it sounds great. You got a big company in there, but they have their own big projects as well. So for example, First Quantum, they drilled their Panteria project. They put $4.6 million into it. They drilled. They were focused on this deep holes, but they drilled one hole in the area where I believe that they should have continued drilling. So what I did is I went to the gold state. I said, "This thing's ready to be drilled. It's got this breccia zone that had one hole into it in a porphyry that ran equivalent of 0.3 to 0.4 copper equivalent." And the CEO of the company knows that he's worked on some porphyries before. Said, "Yeah, all we have to do is start up where they left off, and allow us to get our input in there, because our geological team is just as good as their geological teams, but more so our team is more experienced because we have put our own money up at front, and we have more risk and more to gain by doing these holes. Where a big company manager, it's his job is really to kill projects, and if they find something, they do it. But that's the difference, Rob. I mean, we did a deal with SilverX last year. I'm looking at a couple other properties that we have. I'm going to be talking to some juniors in Vancouver coming up and saying, like, would you take these properties off our hands, give us some stock, give us some cash, 100%, and you guys go for it. And that's what I think a good prospect generator is doing. It generates, and if we have a big win here, then I can always dividend my shareholders back our winnings too. And being the 50%, our insiders, reporting insiders, only more than 50% of stock, they like it. I like it when I say, I'm going to start giving money back to myself. And that's a real difference where I can start saying that. Most companies will never, ever say that. And there's only one or two out there that are actually doing that in a small cap space.
Okay. Well, quite the update there. Certainly appreciate it. And again, good to reiterate this. Treasury's fine. Never a need to go to the market unless you have a dang good reason, correct?
Exactly. I mean, never say never kind of thing. But, if we're sitting at a much higher share price and we've got to advance the company, then we got to reevaluate that, but not right now. No, we don't. Like we're getting we got cash flow coming up to pay our bills. We pay, our Toronto or our Edmonton staff, because we have our head office in Edmonton, Alberta, and we share offices. So our CFO and them. Every month they're keeping up to date on the company with regulatory filings, the auditors, all that type of stuff, right? And every day I'm in touch with the Peruvian crowd. When I get down there, I go right to the field. I look at the geology, do everything to work, improve, look at the different aspects of the geology, add to it. And Rob, I mean, in my past, I have made some major discoveries, and these things are moving forward, but these things were big targets, and they were now taken by other companies over. And it's time for me to, let's take one project, put in production, bring it up to a good sustainability level, bring the mineral to our plant, then start the next one. And we're excellent at permitting. We know Peru. And we also know that Peru is flourishing in the small mining business. And it's really the best country to do small scale mining in. And we've got to protect the environment. There's laws on that. We have to keep the communities on side. And most of the communities that we talk to, they love the idea of us taking some of their mineral away, bringing it down to our plant to processing, so we don't process it up at high in the communities, and they get paid. They love that idea. So Peru is an excellent place to invest, and we're going to be there for several more years.
So I guess I'll leave you with this final question, Jeff. For those interested in taking a ride with Jeff Reeder and Peruvian Metals, again, market's off here. A lot of these companies are waiting for the metals to break out here. You've demonstrated that you have more of a steady model here. How paint a picture to shareholders how if they jump on today, they're going to be able to make money with Peruvian Metals?
Well, eventually, once we get, I would believe sometime in first and second quarter next year, we're going to start taking our cash and start really investing it into our properties, because the rainy season's passing. So we're going to show our monthly updates, our quarter updates on our plant, knowing that this cash is being spent on our exploration without going to the market. And then we're going to start putting out numbers. We're going to be looking for polymetallic. We got copper gold project called Balta Dorada, which is 50% owned right now by us, but we bring it to our plant. And then we have the Minas Visca, which is an old mine that has up to 12, 13 ounces silver with combined lead zinc 5% or 10%, I'm sorry. And that type of stuff. And we've got other ones that we're going to be focusing on bringing those into production and start putting out numbers and have a consistent news flow of just not the production, but development of our projects, and bringing our projects to small scale production. And eventually one of these things could turn into a 200 or 300, 400 ton day operation underground. And at that time, we might have to build a mill at the site as well. But we can do all this at the current price. We're doing it on shares at 10 cents. It's a good entry point with $10 million market cap. The mill is worth, I like the replacement mill with a full permit, maybe $5-6 million US. Positive cash flow. We had a positive cash flow of $450,000. So, let's just say, you add 10 times earnings, 10 to 1 earnings, you can do the math, and you can see that's a great entry point right now.
Okay. We'll appreciate the update there. We'll look forward to checking back in when you hit the wire again. Jeff Reeder, he's the president and CEO of Peruvian Metals, PER, Toronto Venture Exchange, DUVNF, and the OTCQB here in the States. And again, Jeff, appreciate that in-depth update, and we'll certainly look forward to checking back in when you have some more for us.
Okay. Thank you, Rob.